So let's go through this. The federal government's power of eminent domain has long been used in the US to acquire property for public use. Okay, that's important. So they're saying that the US government uses eminent domain for the greater good of the public, okay? Then they're saying eminent domain appertains to every independent government. It requires no constitutional recognition. It is an attribute of sovereignty. Okay, so they're saying that they don't have to write the government's right to do this in the Constitution. It is just like a given right to the government that is assumed. Okay? However, the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution stipulates, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Thus, whenever the United States acquires a property through eminent domain, it has a constitutional responsibility to justly compensate the property owner. Okay, so what they're saying is that in the Fifth Amendment of the US Constitution, it says that if the government takes somebody else's land away, like if the US government takes somebody's land away, they have to pay them the proper amount for that land. They can't just like take it and say that they're taking it for free. Okay?
Okay.
Then the next paragraph is about the Supreme Court case, which like talks about the federal eminent domain power. Call the authority of the federal government to appropriate property for public uses essential to its independent existence and perpetuity. Okay? The Supreme Court again acknowledged the existence of condemnation authority 20 years later. Congress wanted to acquire land to preserve the site of the Gettysburg battlefield. The railroad, ultimately the court opted the federal has the power to condemn property. Okay, so the decision, this paragraph is focused on the decision of that Supreme Court case, okay? So it says that ultimately the court opined that the federal government has the power to condemn property whenever it is necessary or appropriate to use the land in the execution of any of the powers granted to it by the Constitution. So what does this mean? Who has like the overall power?
The government.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Eminent domain has been utilized traditionally to facilitate transportation, supply water. Okay, this is important because they're giving you examples of where it's used. Okay, so when you have like the actual exam, just like highlight or like circle what you think is really important so that when you're actually writing it, it's easier to like find the examples when you're going through instead of like having to